You're listening to The World According to Jen and Carolyn. Hey, everybody.
Hello, Jen.
Hello.
It's been a long time.
It really has. Yeah, we're going to be a little more regular now. Summer is upon us.
We're more regular.
We're
having our fiber.
As we get, yes. Also, as we get older, we'll be less regular in certain areas. Thank you, perimenopause. But we will be recording more regularly. The summer is upon us. Things are generally more mellow over the summer.
Thank God.
Attended my last baseball practice of the season. They take it far too seriously.
Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, thank you. Belated Mother's Day. Yes. That was mellow. We skipped baseball that day. It was perfect. So tomorrow's the last game. And then after Sunday, basically my obligations are pretty much done for the school year.
And we're in a new room.
We're in a new room. Yes, it's far more feminine than the man cave adjacent to this room.
There's no alcohol in here, though.
There is no booze, which I kind of liked. But there's other stuff. There's my boudoir pictures.
It's very vaginal.
It is. It's pretty much nearly every picture in this room is of a woman or something that looks like the female anatomy, like those mountains in Asia look like titties, maybe. I don't know.
I was going to say.
I don't know. I'm reaching, but this room has very good feminine energy.
There's a mossy cave somewhere.
There's definitely
there's
mossy.
a waterfall.
There's wetness. Yeah, there's stuff going on here. Everything here is feminine and vaginal and much more aligned with our product. With our lens. What isn't particularly aligned with our lens is our topic for today. Mm-hmm. So Carolyn and I decided that in the midst of all the darkness that is America, and the shadow that America casts across the world.
Yeah. And now the moon and outer space.
A great orange shadow over the universe. We need to do some light shit. So, why not? We loved our Jerry Springer episode. We actually have a final thought for every episode, which is inspired by Jerry.
Absolutely.
Jerry was very thoughtful, contemplative, and intelligent in spite of the subject matter of his television show. And so, in the Jerry, in the spirit of Jerry, we're going to be talking about the show Cheaters. Remember Cheaters?
Until we did this very vaguely. Vaguely.
I was really into this show. So today's episode is called Caught on Camera, Cheaters, Surveillance, and the Spectacle of Betrayal. Because it truly is a spectacle. And prior to us recording, I beefed up while Bill was recording his podcast in the week, which I love. It's like an hour and a half to myself. My child is in bed.
I love his podcast.
Oh, yeah. His
You're
podcast
like, no, I
is
love
good.
the alone time.
I still don't know where you can find it. I have no idea.
It's a great show, though.
If it's even being published. Yeah, it's really cool. It's a good idea. Anyway, no free ads, Bill, even though he's our producer. But that is my time to watch hot garbage and get high and just do mom things. And so
That's brilliant.
This week's hot garbage was dedicated to Cheaters. I was like, we're doing this episode. I need to reacquaint myself with this dumpster fire that is Joey Greco and the Cheaters crew.
Right.
So
what was it on originally?
Oh, I don't know.
Because I don't remember if I watched
probably
it.
like WB.
It feels like
shit,
these are like all the early like reality dating.
This is 2001.
That's early on.
Yeah, really
Right?
early on.
Yeah.
That's why this is so fascinating. So, of course, we're going to turn our political and our feminist lens on this as well, but we're going to keep it kind of lighthearted. We usually, again, we're in the deep end of everything. And so you need a break. We need a break. So we're going to examine something chaotic, ridiculous, and deeply revealing, but also really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes I think the best way to understand society is to watch people sprint across the parking lot being like, gotcha, bitch, and being chased by a camera crew. So today, we are temporarily stepping away from the political dysfunction that is the United States of America. We're going to dive headfirst into relationship dysfunction.
That I know.
Yes.
That I know well.
This is your life.
It's literally.
Ordinarily, the subject matter of our shows aligns more with like my career, and this is more aligned with your career.
Yes.
So
100%.
yes.
Yeah.
So this is our first lighter episode in a long time. Of course, it's still going to involve betrayal, surveillance, fucking emotional collapse, public humiliation. Welcome to Jen and Carolyn discussing cheaters. So, Carolyn,
Yeah.
you have a master's in family therapy.
Yes.
You're primarily a couples therapist. Like, is there ever any hope for reconciliation if you're on one of these fucked up shows like Cheaters and the Jerry Springer Show?
Research wise, 100%. And I'll
Misery loves company.
Well, so here's the secret to if you're gonna, first of all, please don't have an affair. It's extremely expensive. If you're gonna have an affair, just break it.
It's extremely expensive. Is that the only reason?
Therapeutically. Well, among other things, if you're gonna try and salvage the relationship, it's extremely expensive.
Okay.
But so the research does confirm that affairs left unaddressed end very bad. Like, I think I don't think we needed research on that. Like,
Yeah.
you don't. So let me explain. So the Cheaters format is basically a secret affair plus public, like, exposure,
Yeah.
denouncing that.
Gotcha,
Right.
bitch.
So a really bad combination.
Yeah.
Culturally, we've taught people that exposure equals justice.
Mm.
And every clinician working in the space of therapy and in couples work will tell you that justice is a byproduct of accountability. And accountability requires someone choosing to be responsible.
Yeah.
So what that means is that, and I've seen this, if you cheat and you come clean 100% of your own volition, the relationship is much more salvageable than if you're found out.
Okay. And I'm presuming that it's not only I cheated, I'm sorry, and I want to salvage our relationship.
And I'll tell you everything you need to know, and I'm a piece of shit.
Okay.
Anything other than that is probably not going to go well.
Okay.
Which I don't think you need a research study to prove that. But
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about this show, because I think this is a phenomenon that you share this too, though, because as a clinician, I love this type of nonsense TV.
Oh, yeah.
And again, it's equal parts horror. And I'm very professionally fascinated, especially if they'll go into like, here's the person's childhood, or
Which
here
they
was their
don't do on
upbringing.
Cheaters.
Here's their upbringing.
You're going to miss all that on Cheaters. It's purely exploitation.
Which is also kind of funny too. But any kind of reality projected in television and media that's framed as entertainment is I think very interesting to watch too, because you get this moment. Sorry, my hair is caught in my hoop.
Oh, yeah.
That moment of like kind of like where you're like empathetic and then you're like kind of judgy and you're like, well, I would never do that. We're going to talk all about that.
Yeah.
And there's actually a word for this type of entertainment, and it's called I'm going to say this wrong.
Humilitainment.
Humilitainment. I don't know why I can't say that. And
we all have those words.
Again, it's you see this in the Roman Colosseums. Then you see this in public stocks, witch burnings, Barnum and Bailey freak shows, Jerry Springer, Cheaters, and even TikTok calls. It depends on which side of that velvet rope you're lying. And there's a word actually that encapsulates seeing like someone being exposed and like having to take responsibility.
Well, it makes us feel morally superior.
100%. It's called Genugtuung.
Genugtuung.
Let me see if I
say it German.
Will it be able to hear this?
Yeah.
Genugtuung. Genugtuung.
Everything in German has tongue in
and
it.
Schadenfreude. Another's misfortune to feel better about yourself by noting their fallibility, gloating, the joy of winning. And then you get sadism. It's a really great Salon article if you want to read this. But yeah, I mean, I think if you want to have success in this relationship, this show is not going to be the formula, because they're finding out under like the most catastrophic catastrophic of realities. So one of the things I am going to do, I want to preface, is 4 of the trainings that I am trained in for couples therapy is definitely Esther Perel, who's done a lot of work socially and culturally on the state of affairs. Great book, and Mating in Captivity. Gottman Method has studied cheating and betrayals exclusively. Someone named Shirley Glass wrote a book called Not Just Friends, chapter 4. Whenever someone comes to my office and says, I've been cheated on, I'm like, let's have you read this chapter 4. And then Ortman's, actually, there's a DSM category. It's not in the DSM, but it's a form of PTSD, post-infidelity stress disorder.
Oh,
because that's what you're
seeing.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'd ever be able to trust my husband again, honestly.
But that's the difference. If he came to you and said, if you
wouldn't change it for me, you still betrayed us.
It's a yes, 100%. And at least they tell you. So there's a different kind of, I know. I'm the same way.
I guess it's different in terms of the way you process it when you have to find out on your own,
it's a different
via Joey Greco.
Well, it's not good when the very person that you love is also the very person you distrust. Those are two, you can't be hungry and full at the same, well, actually,
two things are at
the same time.
Yeah.
But, again, the public ambush and the bomb in the middle of someone's trauma is what's really, really bad.
Yeah,
so.
I don't think I know this show has absolutely no interest in any sort of like reparative formula. It's like, we're going to blow this up and we're doing it for the purpose of entertainment. And we don't give a shit about these people. They really don't.
No.
Like Joey Greco always tries to come off as this empathetic character. And you're like, you're loving every minute of this, bro. And your black leather jacket and your slick back hair, you fucking greaseball. So, there's a moment, if you've ever watched Cheaters, where everything shifts, right? The car door opens, a camera rushes out, someone yells, that's him. And suddenly, as you said, this very private relationship it's public theater. And it's a show, this show ran from actually 2000, not 2001, to 2024.
I didn't know
24
that.
years. That's how fascinated people are with this sort of humilitainment, right? So, it's built on this premise of expose infidelity in real time with real consequences. And beneath the chaos, the shouting, the running, the occasional violence, there's something deeper happening. This show isn't just about cheating. It's about surveillance, shame, as you said, power, and the transformation of intimacy into entertainment. The format that hooked America is this. At its core, Cheaters follows this very simple structure. We have a suspicious partner who reaches out. Private investigators conduct surveillance. Evidence is gathered, often secretly filmed. Then you have Joey Greco being like, this is what we saw your husband doing.
Richard Greco.
Who's Richard Greco? Why do I know that?
Richard Greco from 21 Jump Street.
Oh, but then there's also, isn't Greco the last name of a character in
Gordon Greco?
Gordon Greco, right? From Wall Street?
Wall Street,
yes. Okay, thank you. Full circle. So, and then the evidence is gathered, and then finally the confrontation. That's the formula.
I would say at step 1, if you're suspicious, something's probably up.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
something
don't you think, especially, like, no offense, guys, but if you're a woman, like, woman's intuition.
Yeah.
Like, if you already suspect, girl, you don't got to go through his phone.
And also, too, this is very similar in the sense of, like, when we covered Jerry Springer, right? Like, the people who are going on this show, we can say, oh, this is exploitative. Like, this is awful. This is terrible. But it's, what you're getting into.
Yes.
You know what is going to happen to you. So I question the motivation.
To go on for 24 years, too.
Yes. Jeez. Yeah, it's crazy.
That I was surprised about.
The last step of this, the confrontation, that's the spectacle part. Because it's not just exposure. It's a fucking ambush. It's people coming out of the bushes in fucking ghillie suits. Yeah. Oh, wait. I'm confusing that with To Catch a Predator, where they come out in the ghillie suits.
They're really similar, though.
It's similar in that sense, right?
Much worse.
Infidelity between...
I'll take getting cheated on versus you molesting someone.
No pedophilia.
Yeah, please. So, no, thank you.
The show's detective agency, we say this in quotes, tracks people in real time, filming intimate behavior without their knowledge before orchestrating a public confrontation. Girl, the episode I was watching, the private footage that they did, because they're putting the cameras in with the permission of the suspicious party. I watched somebody getting a blowjob.
Oh.
Well, I mean, it's black and white, it's grainy,
Pixelated.
and it's blurred out, but you see, you know what's going. No, this was in a house.
Oh.
Because the person...
Is that illegal?
The person who shares the house with the person said,
okay,
you can put cameras in my house. I don't know about, like...
I'm sure certain states that's allowed.
Yes.
Just Linda Tripp.
Yes. Well, yeah, in California, at least for audio recording, it's a two-party state. You have to have consent from the other party before you record. Otherwise, it's inadmissible and illegal.
I'm guessing the cheater's not going to be like, do you mind if we put some cameras in here, hon?
Yes. Yes. So this is some weird shit. So, you know, the structure of this really matters. And why does it matter? Because it mirrors something super primal, as you were saying. Mm-hmm. Like, we've been doing iterations of this since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
You know, suspicion, confirmation, punishment.
I do like
public punishment.
Yeah.
This is why so many people used to love a good public execution.
Oh.
There was also a sexual component to it, which really fucking freaks me out. I have absolutely no desire to see a public execution. I'll watch somebody get flogged in public. Shit, I've been to the Folsom Street Fair. Like, that's kind of hot.
And that's consensual.
Yeah, even if it's not, I'll watch that shit. We don't do that anymore. But execution, I don't understand
I don't get that either.
But still, there are plenty of people.
I don't even like when I see in hockey they're allowed to beat each other up on the ice, and I think it's so gross.
I don't think they're supposed to be.
They are. Well, they're allowed to make blood, and it's so...
I can't. It's a lot.
I'm like, why?
But, you know, the thing about this, it turns this emotional uncertainty into a narrative closure. Mm-hmm. Even though it's not closure. We have no idea what transpires between this couple after those cameras go off.
I want to watch.
Yes.
That's what I would want to see.
I mean, sometimes you hear like a tidbit, like the one I watched, it said, oh, the husband who was cheating wanted to reconcile with his wife, even after he called her a bitch and all sorts of shit on television. I'm like, fuck this guy. If this woman goes back, and I'm sure there are plenty of people, not just women, who go back to their cheating partner.
They do.
There's self-esteem. There's a lot going on, right?
Yeah, sure.
So, but that's closure at a cost, a big cost. And it's not really even closure. I argue that this does not constitute closure. There's really no such thing as closure.
No. And statistically, you're right when it comes to cheating.
Yes. You know, talk to us about the psychology of betrayal as entertainment, and why was the show on for 24 fucking years? Why?
Well, okay. So there's three things happening. So here's why we watch this. The nervous system is happening when you're simultaneously having a nervous system reaction with a real person or a character.
Yeah.
So let's talk about voyeurism. Activates threat detection circuits, moral positioning. This, I would never do that.
God.
Creates a dopamine superiority hit, and the confrontation does deliver emotional closure, which real betrayal never does provide. So you're getting to watch this morality play in real time. It's kind of like how you want to watch a fight sometimes.
It's closure for the audience, not for the couple.
Well, and it depends on the person. We were walking the other day and I heard like commotion and I was like, "Ooh, I want to see what's going on." And Mario was like,
typical white lady.
Just keep walking,
walk
bitch.
toward the gunshots. No, girl, no.
I wanted to hear. I was like, "What's happening?" Like people are yelling, and
I was raised in the ghetto. I run from that shit.
Because he's like, "Move along, nothing to see here." All right, so Esther Perel, like I said, from Mating in Captivity, State of Affairs, would say framing is essential here. And she says infidelity is the one crisis that touches everything: identity, morality, desire, and belonging. So when we watch it happen to someone else, we're not just judging them. We're actually getting to sort of live out our own deepest fear, play out, but at a safe distance.
Okay.
Which freaks me out because if you take that same thought and put it on like, well, actually, no, it's not like the women who watch true crime
or have rape fantasies.
We're watching our own worst fear be done in a very contained way.
Yes, exactly. We still have control over the situation.
Exactly.
We're not actually getting hurt.
So from a polyvagal system of looking at your whole nervous system and feeling connected and safe, you can literally watch people cycle through fight, flight, and freeze in a 3-minute confrontation.
Yeah.
So the shaking, the screaming, the sudden eerie calm, it's not really perceived as drama in that way. It's like, what's going to happen? So from a cinematic standpoint, it's absolutely
suspense.
Yeah. Thank you. So being cheated on, here's what the clinical voices would say. So Ortman, who's the author of the post-infidelity stress disorder framework, names this as betrayal trauma, as infidelity. It's got its own sort of distinct signature. You get intrusive thoughts, similar with PTSD. Intrusive thoughts, hypervigilance, identity shattering, loss of coherent narrative about your own life. So I would think for someone who has been cheated on or has been the cheater, again, you're getting, it doesn't map it out perfectly in the same way that you would have PTSD, but it's this, the infidelity isn't a physical threat. It's definitely a neurological and an emotional threat. It's very identical to PTSD.
I mean, it could be a physical threat. Like the one episode I watched, the woman got an STD from her cheating husband. Dude, literal physical threat.
That been there.
She was like screaming at you gave me an STD.
Don't date someone who's going to UCSB and just talking to other girls. You're going to get chlamydia.
Yep. It's never just talking, you guys, not in college.
Again, not just friends. Shirley Glass, she talks about something really crucial here, that betrayal by a trusted partner is a double wound. So that was sort of what you were saying. It's this person who is supposed to be a really safe harbor. They're a threat. And that's what makes it so hard to regulate. There's no safe place to go when the danger and confrontation are that same person. Gottman would say it's, again, you're taking a huge withdrawal from the trust bank. And in all fairness, these relationships, to me, as I've watched some of the replays, they don't really seem the healthiest. And again, if you're already suspecting, you're probably, something's not good. So, being the cheater, as part of the show refuses to really talk too much about it. To me, I always felt like it was more the person who was being cheated on, that you're seeing their perspective. But the show is built entirely on catching and punishing cheaters, and has never once asked, well, why did you do this? And it's not just good, bad TV. It's a cultural refusal to look at the relationship and the systemic conditions that made that infidelity possible. Popular, unpopular opinion, when someone comes into the room and they've been cheated on, not always, because there are people who are just categorically, they don't need a reason. They will just opportunistically cheat. That's not as, it's, I don't want to say it's not as common, but there's usually something missing. I can certainly speak from my experience when I've been a cheater. I had a motive. And there was something missing in the relationship that I went to seek out, or there was something I needed outside of that. And so, the show doesn't really touch on that, but it does bring me to kind of this diagnostic question of, well, I wanted it, I took it, the relationship wasn't worth protecting. And so you're getting to see all that like explode on TV. And it's a terrible thing to say, but it's fucked up. But also all the attachment research that we have looks at, if you're someone who, most of the people I think watching it, most of us have either been cheated on or have cheated.
Because it's super common.
It's way common.
I don't think humans are necessarily meant to be monogamous. We're animals.
Esther Perel would agree with you.
I mean, it's hard too. And I have this conversation with my cousin, and she's like, oh, men cheat more. And I'm like, I don't know if that's necessarily true, especially now that we have birth control. Like there's less of a fear of getting pregnant, and women, we're sexual beings as well. And we have to, we look for that gratification too. And we look for validation and whatever is missing outside of a relationship, just as a man does. And, my cousin's perspective is, well, it's a man's job to propagate the species. And so they have a higher sex drive. And so they're inclined to cheat more. And I'm like, I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think what we're seeing statistically is that men might be more forthcoming. And because of the way we're socialized as women, we are less forthcoming. Does not mean we cheat less. It just means we don't disclose it as freely as men do.
Well, and Esther Perel would say, how do you define cheating too? so for the common thought is that women tend to have more emotional affairs.
That makes
not
sense.
Such sexual affairs. But
Yeah.
again, you have to think about, well, what is who, now we have non-binary, we have gay couples.
Yeah.
We have ethically non-monogamous. So I know you laugh at that. It can be done.
I'm sure it can if you have the right agreements in place,
which
most
usually don't.
I'm sure, I know it can be done.
But it's this thing of like, well, we can't historically say anything is valid because even when we look at medical stuff, when we realize that that most of our whoops and our Aura rings and our Apple Watches are based off data from men.
Yeah.
So all the data we have is from men.
Right.
And so I think the patriarchy would allow, and toxic masculinity would say, well, men are more wandery and they're more socially it's more I think people accept more that men cheat.
Yes.
Look what happens to a woman when she cheats.
Right.
Scarlet A.
Yeah.
So because a woman can get pregnant from that. Yeah. So the consequences are really different.
The stakes are a lot higher
than it would be for a man.
Yes, but thanks to birth control, we don't have to necessarily worry about those repercussions. And we live in California. Thankfully, we can access abortion medicine, so things have changed. Maybe back in the day, when there was no remedy and dudes weren't fucking pulling out and there was no contraception, I'm like, primitive contraception, just pull that shit out. Just associate sperm with pregnancy. Pull out.
What about pre-cum?
Oh my God, dude. My really good friend, when they lived in New Orleans and they were very low income and they went to Planned Parenthood, the doctors straight up told them, oh, pulling out is just as good as like contraception. I was like, oh my God. I said that to my boss. And she's like, no, Jen. She's like, I got pregnant that way. I was like, I guess it ain't foolproof. And my doctor always laughs. She's like, let me know if you want a real like actual barrier to pregnancy. I was like, I don't want the extra hormones or any of that shit in my body. We're just gonna pull out. Maybe I'm gonna have a baby at 46. No, I don't know. I'm not 46 yet, but I'm 45. And Liam's always like, my kid.
He's
like,
a sibling.
He wants a sibling. I'm like,
not coming from Auntie Carolyn.
No, well, I'm like,
sorry, sweetheart.
You're 8. You're going to be 9 in September.
You don't want a sibling.
You want a younger sibling now? But he's very sweet and caring, so I think he'd be way into a baby.
He would be.
He would not be annoyed. He would be like, God damn it. I'm not doing it, though. I am tired, dog.
For you?
No.
I will.
I have a career.
I have a
career and 1 child. I'm solid, dog. I'm solid. So, all right. So let's talk about the concept of whether or not this is real or fake, and does it even matter? So almost from the beginning, cheaters faced a lot of accusations that it was staged, right? Like Joey Greco was stabbed. People were like, he wasn't stabbed. And it's widely debated, really, still to this day, whether or not that was staged. Was it real? The answer is both and neither, right? Because the real product wasn't authenticity. It's never been authenticity. That's never been the goal of this show or any of these other performative fucking hot mess dumpster fires that intrigue human beings.
Where is he now?
I don't know. We're going to look that shit up. Okay. When we're done, we will report back. So, it was emotional plausibility, right? That's really the key here. It felt real. The anger, the betrayal, the chaos, all of it. And it worked. It was like this perfect shitstorm synergy of toxic waste. Like broccoli lit a fart on fire. Like, but somehow, like, I'm thinking of every goddamn cliche, like a traffic accident. You cannot look away from.
Yeah.
And this blurring of reality and performance, it's central to that early 2000s reality TV that you and I were raised on.
Well, and you're getting to be the detective in the show.
Yes.
Like this was before freaking Adnan and what was that podcast? Like,
oh, Serial?
Serial.
Yeah.
Like, we like being a part of the mystery and the discovery. And I feel like the show did that really well.
It did. It really did. And Cheaters pushed that boundary further than most of the other shows that had like kind of similar premises in terms of like just outlandish, real shit. So surveillance culture before it was normal. That's what this did.
Totally.
Like long before we had iPhones or location trackers or social media stalking, Cheaters normalized something radical that's now been normalized, which is the idea that you should monitor your partner. I share my iPhone location with my husband.
So do I.
Constantly.
And you have my iPhone.
I have your, yes, because we're worried about murderers, guys. Yeah. Like, I'm not worried my husband's going to cheat on me. I'm worried I'm going to be thrown into a car.
100%.
And if my iPhone happens to still be on, my husband's going to be able to find me, you know. Anyway, it never happens that way. Usually you're dead and like thrown over a cliff.
You'll fight.
I hope so. But then they're using your data to kind of like trace what happened so that they can prosecute the guy. Yeah. It's not real justice, still good. But it is what it is. Yeah. So I know I was talking to you.
I'm yawning. I'm so tired.
No,
it's the drinking.
Oh God, wake up! I was talking to a recently retired police officer a couple of nights ago, and I was telling her like I am as progressive as they come. I said, but when it comes to cameras and surveillance, for the most part, I have no problem with it because I've seen far too many crime shows and I listen to way too many crime podcasts where you are solving cases
based off
predicated off of it. It's like, okay, let's look at the camera. Oh, this person said they weren't anywhere near this person's house. Let's watch the traffic cameras. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I just assume everywhere I go, if I go into someone's home, I assume I'm being filmed.
And that's the thing, too. Anybody who has this illusion that privacy exists, it's like, you dumb motherfucker. Do you have a smartphone? It's in your pocket at all times. If the government wants to track you, they can fucking track you. They are.
You're all watching me take a piss at Starbucks. Yes. I just know it.
Yeah, that happened. Unless you're Ted Kaczynski living in a goddamn shack without electricity or running water, you are being tracked, my friends.
Yes.
So get over it because cameras help solve crimes. That is the most probably conservative view that I think I have. Whoa, there's a big ass spider on the ceiling. Anyway.
It's a daddy long legs.
I know, they're friendly.
Hi, daddy.
I know. Hi, daddy. So the idea that you should monitor your partner, as we said, not only just hidden cameras, but private investigators, evidence gathering. This wasn't just an entertainment. It's a template for behavior. And culturally, it landed at the exact moment that surveillance was becoming mainstream. This is right around the time of 9/11.
Palantir.
Well, Palantir, but not quite. But 9/11 and the surveillance state.
Well, that's where Palantir came from.
Oh, did they start that far back?
Oh, wow. Yes.
They've been around a while. They're creepy.
I've been on a deep dive into Palantir. You told me not to deep dive into hantavirus, and I did.
God damn it. I hate that they took Palantir from Lord of the...
So how do you say it?
I think it's Palantir.
Oh, okay.
I think. But
and they were like the eyes?
Yeah, the all-seeing eye. It's like it's this thing you look into to see what
fucking
people are doing.
Silicon Valley nerds.
It's Sauron, bro. I know. You took something beautiful and nerdy and you made it dark and like a device the government uses to butt fuck us.
Literally.
Anyway, so now I'm contradicting myself. So culturally, again, so think about this. Early 2000s, the rise of reality TV. Yep. Again, I'm way ahead of myself. Post 9/11, expansion of surveillance culture.
You're following.
Right? Why can't I think right now? What was that?
It's the alcohol.
I know, the alcohol is really killing my brain.
Blame it on that
massive document that passed both houses of Congress.
Oh, oh my God.
I'm so dumb. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. This was following 9/11. Created the Department of Homeland Security, that whole deal.
Oh my God, why can't I think
it'll
of it
come to me probably toward the end of the episode because that's always how it happens. So the internet era, so growing digital transparency. So Cheaters sits right at that intersection, right? It turns suspicion into action and then that action into spectacle. So Carolyn, talk to us about gender, power, and public humiliation. You must have added that. I don't think I went this deep on this shit.
I, as you know, I love going deep. You know what I love too? I love like when I'm listening to a podcast or a show and I'm yelling at them like, you stupid bitches. It's this.
Yeah.
Were you all just doing that just now?
Probably.
Anyway. All right. So
the Patriot Act.
Thank you.
Sorry. I'm old. That's how shit goes down in my brain.
You.
Takes a few minutes.
Well, we got you into Lord of the Rings. That's a hole I can't get you out of.
But the Lord of the Rings is a fucking template for good versus evil.
Lot of things.
We are in it right now. And it always astounds me when conservatives are into Lord of the Rings or into Star Wars.
Yes.
I'm like, do you not understand that you are Sauron?
You're the Star
and you're Darth Vader.
Whatever.
The Star Search. You're the Star Search, bro, with Ed McMahon. No, you're evil. You're bad.
The Dark Star? What's the name of
the
show?
Death Star, bro. The Death Star. You're not nerdy enough.
I'm really not. I'm really not.
Tell us about gender.
Anyway.
Stay in your lane, woman.
So, Cheaters runs on a very 2000 gender script. Men are predators. Women are victims. I don't disagree with the menace.
I'm like, what's changed?
What's changed? Well, yeah. So, but the actual data has been quietly disrupting for 20 years.
Okay.
All right. So the GSS 2000, 20% of men versus 13% of women report infidelity overall.
Okay.
Among adults ages 18 to 29, women slightly exceed men. The gender gap in cheating is almost entirely an older cohort story. So it's kind of what we were talking about before, that this idea that men cheat more than women. Let me think of a not nice way to say this. I think if anyone's better at not getting caught, my money would be on the woman.
Yeah.
We're just
smarter.
We're just better at this shit. I'm so sorry, even when it comes to infidelity. Anyway, that's aside. All right, so Shirley Glass made a crucial observation early. The rise of workplace integration and internet access changed the opportunity structure for women.
That makes sense.
So when opportunity equalizes, infidelity rates start to converge. And that structural observation, it's not a moral one.
Yeah.
Esther Perel pushes this even further because she says whether the patriarchal pressure we put on men to be stoic, to perform, to never show need, the patriarchal pressure we put on that. Okay. Sorry, Esther.
They put on themselves. They've internalized it.
Okay. Right. So it doesn't create the relational conditions that make affairs more likely. Terry Real, who I fucking love him, almost maybe more so than the Gottmans at this point. So he agrees, and his whole relational life therapy framework, check out Try SF if you're interested in learning about that, argues that patriarchal conditioning.
Don't shake the table.
Sorry, I know.
No,
it's very shaky.
The microphone will pick up on all of that.
We're shaking. Blame it on me.
Stay still.
I can't. I'm Jewish.
I'm talking. I know. I'm Italian. It's really hard, but it's also because half
on the
table
too.
Yes. Don't put your elbows on the table. Where are your manners?
Seriously.
God damn it.
I'm not sitting up straight either.
Go on and be aware. Play with your fidget spinner that you stole from me. I see it.
I do.
See it.
I need something to finish with, or I'll play with my hair. All right. So the relational life therapy, which comes from Terrence Real framework, argues that patriarchal conditioning produces the disconnection that makes affairs feel inevitable to some men. So, I'm not feeling safe with my wife. I'm going to go over here. It's like, talk to her, bitch.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. I've had a lot of men this week. Sorry. All right. Emotional affairs data. So we've got 91.6% of women, 78% of men admit to having an emotional affair.
Okay.
So again, hear that again. 91% of women, which I would argue that a lot of those are with women.
Okay. You have the data for that?
I don't have that for that, but I feel that women are able to. The difference between women and men to me is that women seek out these different needs amongst each other, not sexually.
Yeah.
But we will, it's more, unfortunately for men, it's more culturally safe for women to have all these different areas. And we're able to say, well, oh, no, I can go out to my lunch with my guy friend.
Yeah.
And it's more acceptable.
We were talking about that in terms of the rise of radicalization amongst lonely men. It's just a lot of men don't have close friends.
No.
And if they do, they don't feel comfortable having those sorts of conversations.
And they might have a close man friend, but not necessarily a close woman friend, because the woman friend would be like, you're creeping me out.
Yeah, or,
rightfully so.
I think it's great that, they don't talk much anymore because Bill doesn't work with this person and this person has like 3 kids. But Bill used to have a really close female friend. And I thought that was great because the two of them can talk and like bounce ideas off each other, but I don't know. That doesn't bother me.
Well, me neither.
Yeah.
And my fiance works a lot with women too and goes out and does things. But it's like, what I'm meaning is I would include you as someone that I meet a lot of the emotional needs that I don't get from my partner.
Yeah, that makes
sense. Which I'm
sense.
okay with.
Yeah.
And I think we just sort of oversimplify that, well, men just don't have that need.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that's true. But I think when it comes to emotional affairs, women can get a lot of that emotional connection from their female friendships. And sadly, you might not get that as a man with your male friends.
Do you think if a man is lacking that emotional connection with his partner, he's cheating and fulfilling, like, on the surface, it looks like just a sexual need, but really there's some sort of like emotional gratification that's transpiring?
For men, I think it's so different. So I would
like, do men conflate physical intimacy with like an emotional experience? And sex can be emotional, obviously. That's why I think it's best with somebody that you really care about, because the emotions are intensified. But if in lieu of seeking out, like, I don't know, that emotional connection with their partner or even with the woman they're cheating with, are they just simply resorting to, I need a warm hole and that's going to make me feel better, but it's not really going to solve the problem because the problem's emotional.
I was going to say, if you're that type of guy, like, most of the men that I've worked with and the men that I've known, I don't think they could handle anymore. And they tend to pick partners where they're going to get that need met and they don't have much else to give.
Okay.
There's something missing in the relationship.
Okay.
And it's not being named to the extent that you're either not telling the partner or they know they can't get it.
Okay.
And if the next person, and I think any of us are susceptible if we're feeling very lonely and we're not feeling fulfilled.
That's what I'm saying.
If someone, if anyone comes and is like this shiny new object, I do feel it's human nature to go, oh. And what the Gottmans would say is, all right, well, if you've already had these experiences enough times where you're not turning towards one another, and you come to condition yourself to go, well, why bother? That's the worst part. So if I have a couple that comes in and they're at this point where it's like, well, I'm not even going to try. That's where you see we're going to lead parallel lives. And that's where that opportunity may come. Okay. And that's where you start to go, well, I deserve this because I'm not getting it from my partner. Yeah. And I haven't even told them that I feel this way maybe, it's very complicated.
And I'm sure it's unique to every couple. But I'm sure there's some through lines too, at least with like heteronormative couples, right? Or heterosexual couples, rather.
Absolutely. And the research that's being done with gay couples and with non-binary couples is, again, this is human behavior. Yeah. If you're not turning towards someone, if after 10 times you texted me, I mean, probably not me, and I wasn't responding. Most people go, I'm just going to leave that. They're not interested. I'm going to back away. Right. And that's that's a signal that someone's sending you. It's really terrible when it's your partner. Right. And if you can't talk about that, again, I don't know if that's what's happening in the cheaters people. Right. But typically what I see is people who at some point, and that's really, really hard to get the partner who's been cheated on. It's not their fault, but there's been an environment that's been created. Yeah. If that is how it went down. Yeah. Where, again, that doesn't mean that should be
that they deserve that.
They deserve it. That's the behavior. Again, be a fuck. I've always been in the thing of like, if you're going to do that, just tell me. Yeah. and give me the opportunity to say, well, then we're done.
Right.
Or yeah, go off and have your fun. And like, I will too, or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, there's always, unless it's someone who is categorically a cheater.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how wonderful you are.
Right.
And how connected you are. They're just a piece of shit that way. Right. It's that sociopathic narcissism the same way. It doesn't, Ted Bundy having a partner, it's like, doesn't make sense. Right. But these are people where, in my opinion, I wouldn't say the relationship was probably that healthy in the first place.
Yeah.
So in the sense of like a Gottman perspective of their sound relationship house, their friendship might be there, but there's not a lot of turning towards. Okay. There's not a positive feeling about the relationship. And, again, cheating is the ultimate expression of what happens when we invent the proper walls and windows.
Yeah.
So that comes from Shirley Glass. Between couples and the public, what should be private reckoning between two people gets a window thrown open and the audience gets to see it.
Yeah.
And the show really is asking, if you suspect the truth, how far should you go to find out?
Yeah.
And Shirley Glass would say, well, how did these walls and these windows shift in the first place? Mm-hmm. The walls that go up versus you and Bill have rooms with windows, not walls,
right?
So there's a lot of transparency. Therefore, you can look over and go, oh, that's what's going on. I don't need to worry.
Right.
If there's walls and you're not getting communication, you're constantly going to be wondering.
Right.
So that's not a good setup. And I think this I would love to see what's happening in this type of environment where there is total, like, where everyone is all the time.
Yeah.
I would be curious how a show like that would hold up in 2026.
Yeah, but it's true. It's true. But you don't always know. Like, we have these relationships with our partners where we're like, of course, I'm going to share my location with you. But there are others that are like, oh, I feel like that's surveillance. And do you not trust me? And then you're going to possibly gaslight that person.
It seems to not be a big deal for the younger population. Like teenagers, they're like, they all know like where their boyfriends are and girlfriends are all the time. And I'm like, really? I'm like, so they don't trust you? And they're like, oh, no, we just like to know where we are. I'm like, that's so weird to me.
Well, it's a new phenomenon and it's not one that we grew up with. No. So I think it's a bit strange to us. But at the same time, from, I might be abducted and taken away standpoint, I'm like, I want you to know where I'm at. And it's interesting too, like within this windows and walls conversation that we're having, it's like, within those windows and walls, all of a sudden you're integrating like a fucking reality show and a camera crew and like some creepy dude masquerading as a PI. Like, what the fuck is happening? That is where those are the questions I still have.
Yeah.
Like, what is it about these folks? Is it, I think people, particularly in this country, I can't speak to any other country. I live here. I was raised here. I know how fucked up Americans are. I can't speak to any other culture. But we are looking for our 15 minutes.
Oh,
so
sure.
Is there some sort of desire to have that 15 minutes of fame, like bound up in your own fucked up interpersonal shit?
I'm like,
I don't get
not
that.
so much what makes you and I watch this.
Yeah.
Like, I would be mortified.
Yeah.
Just be like, I want to see if my boyfriend's cheating on me.
It's embarrassing.
No. Well, and that's a piece we didn't include in this is sort of the cultural look at the type of people that tend to be on these shows.
Yeah.
And looking at that from sort of a quote a caste perspective.
Yeah.
Of, well, I wouldn't want that exposed because I'm a professional and I wouldn't want my mother to see that.
Yeah.
I go through things with the podcast where I'm like, oh no, my mom's gonna
No, and I think that's a good question for a future episode, right? Like, we haven't quite examined why people voluntarily go on the Jerry Springer Show.
Right.
Cheaters, all these shows where it is degrading.
Yeah.
It's degrading not just for the person doing the cheating, but I think it's degrading for the aggrieved party.
Yes.
Like, it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
What compelled you to do this? And that also begs the question, is it real?
Well, did they get money from it?
I don't know. That I don't know. I mean, there must be some kind of compensation. I'm assuming like they come to where you're at. It's not like Jerry Springer where they're like, we're going to fly you out and put you up in a hotel. But even that doesn't seem like motivation enough to be like, are you the father? That's also Maury Povich. But...
Well, and Jerry Springer, would they tell them, like, we're going on the Springer show? Or were they just like, we're going to Chicago, or we're going over here to Burbank?
Dude, I don't know how they set that shit up. I'm assuming the people that were going on the show, like, knew that they were being brought on the show.
No, it's just a home makeover edition.
Oh my God. I don't think there was any like subterfuge. Like it was like, we're going on Springer. You know what happens on Springer. You know what happens on Maury Povich. Get ready, bitch.
Yeah.
I think that psychology is fascinating to me. Fascinating.
We didn't look that up. Anyway.
We're going to conclude this with, this is pure spectacle, right? This is pop culture impact at its peak. Cheaters was everywhere for 24 years. It influenced reality TV formats, tabloid storytelling, internet exposure culture. Look at TMZ.
Yeah.
TMZ like runs up to people. Now they have TMZ DC, which I fucking love, where they're running up to elected officials and asking them questions. I love it. So, that formula is really everywhere. Its DNA shows up in viral cheating videos, caught in the act TikToks, shows like Catfish.
Our first episode.
Oh yeah. This list could go on and on. So, and the host Joey Greco, he became a cultural icon, described as a relentless pursuer of truth, often putting himself in danger to tell that truth. Oh, what a great guy you are, Joey Greco. Okay. So the show really blurred genres, right? We've got part documentary, part performance, part moral theater. It's like Jerry Springer meets surveillance capitalism. I love the term surveillance capitalism.
Yeah.
It really, these shows, that's the best way to describe them. So, why does this still matter? So Cheaters didn't end that long ago. We're not talking about a show that ended 20 years ago. It's just ended a few years ago.
I need to watch the last season.
Let's watch it. Maybe
pandemic era.
Yeah, 2020 Cheaters. They're all in masks.
Watch that in the pandemic.
I don't know. And I don't even know where it was being broadcast.
No,
we gotta figure this shit out.
On YouTube.
It ended its run in 2024, but the legacy is everywhere because today we track each other's locations, as we said. Sometimes we check each other's phones. We investigate partners online. And, we've internalized the logic of the show. Really. The difference, now we're all the investigators. We all have the tools to be able to do this. So final thought here really is that Cheaters didn't just document betrayal. It redefined how we think about privacy, trust, and what we're entitled to know. If asked a question, we're still answering. It asked a question we're still answering, which is, if you suspect the truth, how far should you go to prove it?
Out there.
And I think more importantly, is this even the truth? Was this completely contrived? Was this an act? Was any of this real?
Would it matter to the audience?
Doesn't.
No.
It's entertainment.
It's
Pure and
entertainment.
simple.
Yeah.
I think the fact that people think it's real,
that's the difference. Yes.
Makes it
that's
more
the Barnum and
intriguing.
Baileyness of it, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's all this is, right? The reinvention of that intrigue, that mystification of the audience, that it's a magic show.
Yes.
In the most fucked up way.
Do you know he had a BA in psychology and a master's in counseling?
Joey Greco? Holy shit, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that. If you watch it, they dedicate the show to people who have been cheated on, basically. They're like, this is to the survivors of cheating. Like, it's very dramatic. And that's the other thing I think that makes it so good.
Where's my ribbon?
It's so dramatic. Like, so much of it is in black and white surveillance camera.
Yeah.
It's fucking intriguing. All right, you guys, we're going to go watch some Cheaters. We hope you enjoyed this almost hour-long segue into the wild world of Cheaters. Follow us on TikTok, where we say lots of crazy stuff. We're twat, TWATJC. And oh God, Jesus Christ.
I'm so old.
I don't get it. Anyway.
I don't get it either.
So we love you guys. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Don't cheat on your partner. Bye.
No, please don't.
Don't
It's
do
expensive.
it. Don't do it.